started. Spotlight myself.
And I understand the important role that my partner, my spouse, my wife, my bride in WRAPTT. And I must also pause to say thank you again to my dear wife, Mrs. Joanne Phillips Spencer. I know that WRAPTT will soon hold its constitutionally due elections, amend the current board of WRAPTT, as well as the respective pillar leads. You have done a remarkable job. Continue to do so. And I wish to encourage and invite us to step forward and accept the responsibility of serving on WRAPTT board and pillars. Our women and girls across our diaspora and eventually across the Caribbean and this globe need you, WRAPTT. Finally, please become, and remain unshakable. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. A very welcoming speech. For those of us who did not know about WRAPTT, now we know quite a bit about the organization, its genesis, the principles on which it was founded, and what we are about. So without any further ado, we want to get into our presentations today. Before we get into the presentations, I just want to let you know that we had a slight change in our schedule today. Dr. Karen Stallings, she will not be with us today. She had a family emergency, but in her stead, we have Dr. Nadia Manzano, equally as brilliant. So we look forward to her presentation. So without any further ado, we will introduce Dr. Phyllis Moreau, seasoned change strategist, executive leader, and advocate. Dr. Moreau is a seasoned change strategist, executive leader, and advocate for women's empowerment. With over 25 years experience in law, business, human resources, and organizational transformation. She holds a doctorate in business administration and degrees in law, finance, and accounting. She's also a chartered governance professional, currently serving as the Vice President of European Business Chamber TT and the Director of Advocacy. She also leads Turning Point Consultancy Limited, guiding organizations and individuals through critical transitions. She is deeply committed to social impact and volunteers as an educator and a reintegration mentor for women in the prison system, helping them prepare for life beyond incarceration through business education and entrepreneurship support. A trained wine master and chef, business newspaper columnist, and wellness advocate, she blends professional expertise with personal purpose, mentoring others to redefine success, embrace resilience, and find stillness in motion. This evening, I introduce Dr. Moreau to present on redefining success on your terms. Welcome. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Redefining success on your own terms. When was the last time you asked yourself, what does success means to me now? To me, success is living a life aligned with purpose, not performance. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be part of Unshakable, a space carved out just for not just for our voices, but for our truth. Now, if I ask the audience, what does success means to you now? I will get several answers, because what does success means to me now would not be the same what it means to me somewhere down the road. And I wouldn't qualify in terms of now, meaning now in your life, right? Because what success means to me now, today, didn't mean the same thing to me, say 10, 15 years ago, okay? Remember, just generally, we know how life goes. You get your education, you go off to university, you get your degrees, you find a career, you get your career, and the next step, this is generally speaking, we all know this is how life proceeds. Then if you're lucky enough to get a spouse and you got married, you have kids, and then you look towards retirement, okay? So therefore, success, redefining success, each stage of your life will mean different things to you, okay? Because when you're like building your career, success is different. Defining success is different, right? But the key term here is on your terms. What does that mean on your terms? It's on you. What do I want? How do I define success on my terms? Meaning, it's all about me making my decisions. But I just need to qualify this too as well. I am not saying you're doing your own thing when you have people that you have to consider, okay? So remember, we all in family structure. When we have to define what we want to do, we also have to consult with our families, with our employers, whoever that may be, okay? So there are considerations too as well. So while you're saying on your terms, there are considerations too as well, okay? For the people that the decisions that you make will impact their lives. Therefore, you have to have consideration for the people within your space, okay? Now, in a world that often equates success with busyness, with titles, and a relentless climb up this corporate ladder, which we all know only too well, I have learned that real success begins when we choose to pause, okay? In that quietness, in that stillness, when we pause to think who I am, where I am, what am I doing, right? For much of my life, I embodied what would call traditional success, academic credentials, leadership roles, public recognition, and a calendar bursting with commitments. But somewhere along the way, I began to feel a quiet nudge, a stirring in the stillness I had long ignored. Now, and my situation came about when my kids all went off to university. I had all this time in my hand, and you find yourself working from sun up to sundown, and then suddenly one day you got up and said, wait a minute, what's happening here? Okay, this is when you pause, right? Now, my pause out of corporate came slightly different, meaning that where I was at the top of my organization, had a very good job, and I decided to walk away. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. Maybe I was, right? Walk away from bonuses, walk away from privileges, walk away from all of that, because guess what? Those things no longer mattered, right? It wasn't burnout that made me pause. It was realization that applause no longer sustained me. What called me instead was alignment, a life of contribution, spiritual reflection, and meaningful service, okay? So I moved away from this because I felt I wasn't where I wanted to be at this point in time. So I paused, I reflected, and I knew I had to change. I had, you know when the time reached that you need to make a move. Okay. So I left my job, very lucrative job, and I left the executive corridor to teach business to incarcerated women, among other pursuits. That was just one of my pursuits, right? I traded the boardroom for the quiet classroom behind prison walls. In doing so, I discovered that success isn't what world gives you. It is what you give back from a place of truth. Okay? It's what we give back. Okay? That I discover right now what success means to me. Success, I have come to realize, is not a ladder. It's a landscape. And the beauty of it is we each get to define its contour. You, the person, gets to determine what that is, what that means to you. Okay? Now, what matters to me now? When I ask what success looks like today for me, the answer is different. I think of early morning runs, right? Beneath a sleepy sky, handwritten letters from women behind prison walls. And and now my kids all live abroad. And I look forward to our calls, our video calls. And when I look into my children eye, that means a lot to me. That to me is success. And when I play Santa Claus every year, the children, I'm a Rotarian. So every year our Rotarians, we believe in service before self. And I have lived that I have been a Rotarian for over 35 years. So every year I would play Mrs. Claus. And I would spend several days traversing Trinidad, delivering gifts to the less fortunate. And nothing gives me more satisfaction than look into the eyes of innocent children, especially one will ask, Mrs. Claus, is it really cold in the North Pole? Now, how do you answer a child like that? Right? So it's really these are the things that add up, that to me now make the greatest impact, right? I measure success not by applause. I don't care about applause now, but I care about impact. How do I impact someone's lives, right? There was a time when I measure life in achievements. How much degrees? How many times I became employee of the year? What my bonus was going to look like? Now I measure. Sorry? Now I measure it in meaning. How deeply I have served. How high I have climbed. That is how I define success now. We must allow ourselves to evolve and to measure our life by meaning, not metrics, right? We talk about stillness is not laziness, it's wisdom. So when we talk about pausing and being still, it's not laziness, it's wisdom. Stillness changed everything for me. I get up early, not to be the word of work, but to embrace the stillness of dawn. My days begin with worship and meditation. My morning runs ain't escapes. They are sacred to me. I run because it is where my most profound thoughts unfold, where I find answers, and I can be myself. My journaling isn't a task. It's a truth teller. Writing about my life on Medium, a blog called Medium, let me show up as I am. Raw, vulnerable, and honest. Sometimes I revisit old pain, and other times I share the joy of healing. I write from the heart. And when someone reaches out to me to say, I felt that, it reminds me why I do it. If my story touches one, even one soul, that's enough. That's joy. And only today, I had a lady from India reach out to me, reading my blog, and said to me how much it resonated with her and how much it has helped her in her healing process, in being successful in and charting her own course. Now, these are the emails I live for. Yeah. Now, we talk about hustling as an employee, as actively working. Hustle taught me how to produce. That's what hustle does, help you to produce, to make money. But stillness taught me how to listen to me, what is being said to you. Stillness is not a pause from life. It is a place where life speaks. For women especially, this is radical act of self-care and reclamation. Release the guilt of not conforming. There is power in being yourself. Remember, there's power in being yourself. From the corporate to the compassion, these days my proudest moment come from not from boardroom, but from classroom inside prison walls. Teaching incarcerated women the principles of business and helping them find purpose beyond their sentence. That's success to me now. That is what success means to me now, today. My greatest lesson comes from behind prison walls. The most unlikely place. Despite their circumstances, these women have shown and taught me what hope looks like. I see it in their eyes, a desire for something more, a life beyond confinement. That's hope. Because success is not just what I build, but who I help rebuild. Now, we all need to live our truth. So, I leave you with this. You are allowed to outgrow all definition of success, to pause, to feel, to pivot, to begin again, without guilt, without apology. Let your life be shaped not by pressure, but by purpose, not by comparison, but by clarity. Because when you define success on your own terms, you become unshakable. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you again. You are allowed. That line resonated most loudly with me this evening. You are allowed to redefine. You are allowed. So ladies, remember you are allowed. There's some key points that you mentioned that I just want to highlight. Redefining success differs at varying times of your life. At stages in your life, you need to pause and be still. Stillness is not laziness. Many times we want to be still, but society, the speed of society dictates that we keep moving. I am one that is probably a little guilty of that. But I was just very, very happy to hear stillness does not mean laziness. Redefining success, giving back, the finer things, listening to the morning breeze, embracing the morning, impacting lives, being raw and vulnerable. These are some of the nuggets that was sent out to us this evening by Dr. Moreau. Dr. Moreau, I want to say thank you so very much, and I want to open the floor at this time for questions if there are any. while the questions are being fielded from the chat, I would just like to throw out one question to you. How does redefining success look for young women who are still trying to find themselves in this world? And I think this question falls right into the area in which you are focused now in terms of the women's prison. So share with us.
Yes, that's an important question. Okay, thank you for asking it. For young women still finding their way, redefining success begins with one radical but straightforward act. I would say, permitting yourself to evolve. Okay, for young women still finding their way, redefining success begins with one radical but straightforward act. Right? Permitting yourself to evolve. You do not have, you probably won't have all the answers. That's okay, right? Success doesn't have to be fixed, a fixed destination. It can be a series of intentional steps towards self-discovery. It is okay if you're still figuring out who you are. In fact, that is the work, in a manner of speaking. Redefining success at this stage might mean some suggestion, choosing peace over pressure, especially when you're young. You're pressured to do many things by many people. You're within your household, within your working environment, within your social circles, right? I'm saying choosing peace over pressure. Exploring parts that excite your curiosity, not just your resume, okay? Letting go of timelines that are not written within your heart in mind, right? What does, it's something that comes from within, and you will know that. It's about asking, what should I be doing now? What feels aligned with who I am becoming? Who am I becoming? And most of all, it's about trusting what your worth is waiting at the finish line, what that is going to look like. It is already in you. Every step you take towards your authentic self is a success, whatever step that is. Okay?
Thank you very much for that. I like that part, letting go of timelines. Wow, that is powerful. I think you just came to speak to me this evening. If no one else gets it, I get it. I guarantee you. So we have some other questions here that we want to just throw to you. What does success look like when you're in a season of waiting or transition?
Okay,
when you're in a season of waiting or
when
transition.
you're in a season, okay, because sometimes we stay still, we pause, and this is our waiting season, right? What does success mean like? This is when, like I just said, you get into yourself, who I am, where I want to be. I tell people, you need to visualize where you would see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, right? It's something I will say to my children, visualize it. When you visualize what you would like your life to look like, what you would like for yourself, it's easy to make that transition. It's easy to wait, sit down and stay still. No hustle, okay? Because at the end of the decisions that you make is what you will have to live with, right? And this is something I always say to young people. Regardless what that decision may be, understand something. You will have to live with the consequences of whatever that is, okay? And you must be willing to live with yourself with the decisions you make. So it's okay to stay still. Nothing wrong, like I said, with staying still. This is where we find, and this is when I always say divine intervention, because I always believe God will put you where he wants you to be. Okay? And your steps, my mantra, my steps are ordered by the Lord. That's my mantra. So that's how I will answer that.
Thank you so very much. So just to wrap up the session, how do I communicate my redefined success to people who do not seem to understand it?
Oh yeah, that would be a really that would be something, especially with young people, when they have the parents who might be guiding, coaching, and they may go against the wishes. And even in your corporate world too, as an HR professional, I have had employees come to me and say, my mother do not want me. My boyfriend, my husband doesn't want me to do this or do that or take this road or make this decision. But I'm always saying, go back to basics. Basics is conversation, communication, okay? Understanding and getting the other person to understand what, in other words, what the fire that you have for what you believe in, right? Getting your family, your spouse to understand that. What is that burning desire? Because at the end of the day, a happy you is going to be a happy them, okay? Because at the end of the day, once you are happy, things will work out really nice, and then your lives and the people who your decision will affect, like I said before, will be happy once you are happy because it will radiate outwards.
Thank you very much. So I just want to squeeze one more question in from the chat. What has been the most significant challenge you have faced in your career? How did you overcome it, and how has that shaped who you are today?
Wow. I have had many, many challenges. One particular challenge was always the glass ceiling effect. As we all know, women, we go through that. And it had a time when our executive were all men, and I was in charge of HR, and I never had a space at the table, right? HR was like some back room, something, and you just, they taught you, all you do is hire and fire, right? And I had to assert my position. I did my research. I threw up presentation to my boss and said, this is what HR looks like. This is what we're supposed to be. It's strategic. It's not operational. There is operation, of course, but it's just strategic. And I think only there and then that I really had some level of impact on the executive. Because when this, I mean, you cannot just say, I need to get into the boardroom or I need to get to the table. But why do you need to get to the table? You have to prove yourself. And sometimes you have to go way beyond what a normal person will have to do. Let me say male, right? Because I have gone through that. I've gone through that a million times, that proverbial glass ceiling. But I don't believe in proverbial glass ceiling, although it may exist. It doesn't exist in my world. Okay? And if I want something bad enough, believe me, I go after it. Okay? You dig deep, find what you have to find, and you move forward. You have to keep moving the marker. You cannot stay the same way and complain. You don't complain. You do something about it. And that is what you have to do. And that is what I've done all my career.
Thank you very much for sharing from that personal perspective, because it's important for us to really share our stories. And this is why this is a safe space where you can share your story and we can learn from each other as we move on into that place of redefined success. Thank you very much, Dr. Morrow. We look forward to having you again at another time.
Thank you.
So as we move along this evening, I know there are many questions, but we have to get moving. As we move along this evening, I want to introduce to you a very dynamic woman. A woman who has been in the sphere of public speaking and working with youth and behavior change and the whole garment of it. She is what we would describe as a true servant of the people. Dr. Joanne Spence, behavior change consultant and educator. Dr. Spence is the author of 8 books and is a lecturer at the University of the West Indies. She's a counseling psychologist registered with the British Psychological Society. She is an Oxford Scholar and a research fellow. Dr. Spence is the chief consultant at the Therapeutic Assessment and Training Institute Limited. Her main focus is the development of human capacity with organizations. She developed and implemented the National Mentorship Program through the Ministry of National Security. Dr. Spence works with individuals who are challenged by emotional and behavioral disabilities or anxiety disorders. She combines behavioral interventions with a comprehensive knowledge of best practices for those with complex profiles and learning needs. Dr. Spence has served on several cabinet-appointed committees, namely the SEA, Concordat Committee, and WRAPTT Board. She is also a director on Elders and Associates Board. Dr. Spence is a certified mediator and mediation trainer with the Mediation Board of Trinidad and Tobago in both civil and family matters. She is also a sought-after speaker on behavioral topics on numerous mediums of communication, ranging from radio to television. She has a passion for the growth and development of young women. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome to the front Dr. Joanne Spence.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much, WRAPTT, for having me on this forum again. I really do enjoy these moments when I can share with persons, and I love the topic that I'm dealing with, self-worth without permission. Self-worth. This self-worth is often confused with self-esteem. Self-esteem relies on external factors such as achievements. You purchase a vehicle, you purchase a house. There's this level of self-esteem. But self-worth is an internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love from others. It reflects how much you value yourself and your belief in your own capabilities. It is the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. So we understand the difference between self-esteem and self-worth. We said self-esteem is external. We look at things that we have in terms of our car, what we accomplish, our house, a certificate or so. But when we talk about self-worth, we're talking about that internal sense of value for you. And just today I was talking to a client and I was saying to her, because she felt that she was not worthy. So I showed her the $100 bill. And we did all sort of things with that $100. We crumpled up and whatever. I said, what's the worth of this? She said, it's 100. After doing everything, I said, what is the worth? I said, still $100. And I said to her, that's the same thing with you. It doesn't matter the challenges that you face. Whatever you pass through, the fact is that your worth is your worth, and you have to understand your worth, and you have to know your value and your worth and appreciate it. Don't allow anything from outside, external, what you have, what you don't have, to really determine your worth. We were raised to be people pleasers. We follow the rules, we ask permission, do as the husband say. So we ask permission to be, permission to dream. You may want to be something, but society says, no, you can't be that. Who are you to want to be a doctor when you come from a poor family? Or who are you to be a doctor when you come from a poor single family home? Society has it that, okay, you're from a poor family, this is as far as you reach. And that's why sometimes our worth is developed based on those things that we learn, those kind of socialization. And it's so important for us to understand, hello, it doesn't matter what people say, what people think, my word, I understand my word, I understand my value, and I'm going to live according to that. Yes? So how dare you dream that big when you come from a poor family? Yes, you can. Society taught us in order to fit in, you must shrink. But who says you must fit in? So I'm going to just share quickly a little story. Mary. Mary came in my office feeling anxious and lost. She wasn't sure if her life was worth living anymore. Her fiancé of 8 years had recently left her. She assumed she was not good enough. Mary's entire sense of value and worth as a person was tied to being in a relationship. When she did not have a significant other, she felt like nobody in her mind. The fact that they broke up was further proof that she had no inherent worth as a person. Our self-worth is our sense of value. And Mary's was completely dependent on what her ex-boyfriend thought of her. He left her and her sense of worth left. She felt she did not deserve to live again. How many of us can identify with that story? How many of us in this audience this evening can really identify with this story? Similar to anchoring your self-worth to someone else, there's also the risk of tying your self-worth to your job. People are transferred, fired, given new responsibilities, and it doesn't mesh with their self-worth. So they feel, that they have no value, they have no worth. Your job don't define your worth. Not being in a relationship does not define your worth. There are persons who stay in toxic relationships just to have a companion. And this is serious. Many of persons that I would know would stay in a relationship because they say, listen, at this stage of my life, I don't feel I'll find someone else. And they would want to stay in a toxic relationship. And it's paining, it's hurting, it's doing a lot of damage to them, but they stay in it because they feel that, listen, if I go there, I would not get someone else. Is that fair to you? Do you think that you really deserve that? Or are you worthy of this sort of treatment? Is it something that you would want to endure for the rest of your life? Sometimes we enter one relationship, it didn't work, we go into another one. Before we are healed, we rush into another one. Why? Because society tells us, listen, at a certain age, you're supposed to have a companion. So if you're without a companion for at least 25, 30, and you don't have a companion, they say something wrong with you. So what happened? We asked society to give us permission to live. We ask society to give us permission to have value for ourselves. And that is what we are doing when we allow persons and situations and cultures and so how we will socialize to determine how we live. It's not healthy for us to rush from one relationship into another, especially before you're healed. You must be healed of the past. But because we feel that, listen, I can't stay so long without a companion, people think something wrong with me. Society will think that something is wrong with me. I don't have someone. And many of us in the audience sitting experiencing this very same situation. We're in a relationship and we are there because we don't want society to feel that, something is wrong with us. Hey, nothing is wrong with you. Not a thing is wrong with you. Value yourself. Right? Why do we do this? Is it to please others? We gain our self-worth. We gain our self-worth when we become less a people pleaser. I want to say it again, we gain our self-worth when we become less a people pleaser. What does society say about a woman who is single for a long time? Is this shaping your value of you? How do you feel when you did not get that car you always wanted and all your friends driving their dream car and you don't have that? Does that make your worth more or less? Does it determine your worth? You don't need permission from anyone to value yourself. Many times we shrink ourselves to fit in to other expectations. And I have been guilty of that, but I've learned. The truth is, you already belong and you don't need anyone's permission to fit in. One of the most powerful things is understanding your worth. And many times we downplay ourselves to please people. I have been guilty of all these things I'm talking to you about. Having a doctorate, having written books, and sometimes you feel that you're not enough, you have no worth because you listen to what people say. And you try to associate and really measure yourself with others. And then you start to feel that maybe you haven't achieved much. So it happens to all of us. But we have to get out of the culture of trying to please people, the culture of trying to make people believe that you are better than you are, or make people believe that you are what they want you to be, not what you are, but what they want you to be. We have to start valuing ourselves, appreciate us. There's nothing wrong with being proud of what you do, but the danger is letting it define you and define your self of worth, your sense of worth. That's where it's wrong. I often tell my students, if you're rejected at a table, you don't try to fit in. We talk about fitting around the round table. So I tell them as I prepare them for the world out there, I say to them, I say, here what? If you don't fit around the table, don't force it. You try and create your own table and invite others to that table. And for me, that is what I have done in my life. I haven't tried to fit in because sometimes as a woman, Black woman, sometimes it's very difficult. You may educate yourself and still find it difficult to fit around. I've created my own table and I'm invited those who I choose to around the table. I encourage my students all the time. I say, listen, when you finish your degree, you get out there and you're looking for a job. Sometimes you may not get the job that you want. You might be able to fit in terms of where you want to fit in. But think about what you can develop, what you can create, something new you can bring to the table and create your own table and encourage others to be part of that table. And for me, that is powerful. That is understanding your words, expressing it, and allowing people to recognize, hey, I have something to offer. Yeah, that's so important. It's so important. You don't need to wait until it's safe. You don't need to wait to be liked because some people wouldn't like you. You don't need to be perfect. And you don't need permission. So what you need to do is unapologetically reclaim your space. You don't apologize. Reclaim your space. Let the world adjust to your light rather than you dimming your light. Don't try to make people feel comfortable. You have to understand where you are, what you want to do, and just go after it. Don't try to dim your lights. And I can tell you about that. There are times, and I'm talking to women here, and as a woman, sometimes men feel intimidated because you're a certain level in terms of education or in terms of work job-wise, you may be working for more than them, and they feel intimidated. And we try to lessen ourselves. So we dimming our lights to make people feel comfortable. I've been in spaces where I don't tell people that I write books. I don't tell people what I've achieved because they feel uncomfortable. And what I recognized I was doing is dimming my light to fit in and to feel comfortable around people. There's a difference between boasting and dimming your light. So I'm talking about just not sharing anything because I don't want people to know, because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. And I say, hey, no, that's not right. Why should I have to listen and dim my light for others? I'm not going to shout out on our rooftop, oh, I have this, I have that. No, because I'm a humble type of person, I wouldn't do it. But I should not have to hide to make you feel uncomfortable. And if we check ourselves, there are times that we do that to fit around the table because people tell you things like who you feel you are, who she feels she is. Now, you didn't say anything, but just because you have achieved, they feel intimidated and they start to talk about who you feel you are. And then if you want to fit in now, you might just try to just humble, dim your light or whatever. But you know what? Get up and go in spaces where people appreciate you, where people love you, where people can cherish what you do and applaud you for what you do. You don't have to sit in places where people want you to dim your light. Yes? So let the world adjust to your light rather than you try dimming. Stop waiting on validation to live your life to the fullest. Stop waiting on validation. Sometimes we wait on people to validate us, so we feel we don't. We not anything we don't do, we haven't achieved much. Stop waiting on validation. You know who you are, walk in that. Step up, walk in that space in terms of, and command that space. All right? Embrace what makes you you. Embrace what makes you you. Surround yourself with positive influences. That's so important because they're persons, because they haven't achieved what you achieve. It might be, and I want us to understand, it don't always have to, your achievement don't always have to be academic in terms of having a degree. There are people who are skilled, could do very good, I mean, good wedding dresses and so on. They can sew well, they can make so many different things. There are people who are good crafts and so very good. So whatever it is, understand you have worth. You have worth. I need a good seamstress. We need a good tailor. We need somebody who can make cake and could make good cake. All right. So all of us we all contribute to society in some way. So you have value. One of the other things that's important, practice self-care. Go to the gym, go to the spa, take care of you, set boundaries, and embrace imperfection because you know what? None of us is perfect. All of us have some sort of imperfection. Embrace whatever imperfection you have. And what I want to end off with, stand tall, own your worth, and make a lasting impact in every space you occupy. Stand tall, own your worth because you're worthy, you are valuable, and make a lasting impact in every space you occupy. So it doesn't matter if you are making cakes, be the best cake maker. Own your space in that. Let people know you for the person who's making cake. If you're a psychologist, be the best at it so that people will know, hey, when they call Dr. Joanne Spence, they must know, yes, this is the person, right? If you're talking about making sweet bread, if you're making whatever it is, understand your worth. You are valuable. You don't need permission to do that. Be the best. And you know, Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So it's up to you to own it, understand your value, own it, walk in it, stand tall, and don't allow anybody to make you feel inferior. God bless you.
Wow, wow, wow. All I can say is wow. So self-worth without permission. Self-esteem versus self-worth. Thank you for that clarification, ma'am. Self-esteem is external and self-worth is internal. Oh, yes. Don't shrink yourself to fit in. And I want to share, again, this is a safe space this evening. I want to just reiterate that aspect. For many years, I didn't speak about a particular achievement because I felt it would make people feel uncomfortable or it would make me seem as if I was boasting. And a few years ago, someone wrote an article and placed it in a newspaper that was contradicting what my historical significance was in Trinidad and Tobago. And that's when I started to speak. So I'm the first female Trinbagonian paramedic. I became a paramedic in 2004. And between 2004 and about 2022, I really didn't speak about it because I felt that it would seem as if I was boastful and, and I so understand that. As I achieved, as I went along, I started to shrink myself. When I started studying at the advanced level, again, I didn't speak about it for a long time because I felt that it would make persons uncomfortable. So I'm here to tell you, ladies, this evening, what Dr. Spence has said is the raw truth. Do not shrink yourself. You know your worth, and there's nothing wrong with being proud. You're not being boastful, but you're proud of your achievements, and that's okay. Stop waiting on validation to live your life to the fullest. And I'll use the words of Bishop David Bellamy, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. So I want to open the floor for questions this evening, if there are any questions in the chat. And I'll start the questions going. How do you start from scratch after being married for 25 years and now separated?
That's an excellent question. It's excellent because I have I've been through that experience. And what can I say? What do you have in your hands? So I'll ask the person, you want to start, so you've had 25 years of marriage. You're now going to start again because you are divorced. And you want to start from scratch. And I'm saying, what do you have in your hands? You must have something. For many of us, we look for a lot of things outside, but we have it right here with us. There are things that you would have gained during some coping skills during your relationship. So you have things in your hand. What do you have in your hands? And look at your hands and see, what do I have? What can I use to help me push myself forward? Whether it is in terms of finances, whether in terms of coping ability, what do I have in my hands? What if from my past experience I can pull to help me push forward? Because sometimes you have to take those things, sometimes you go through some things and learn some lessons. And those things that you learn from, you can use it to step up higher. So you have to ask yourself what I have and be able to start from there. Your skills, is it that whether I'm not academic and I have other skills in my hands that I can use to help me make some money to help finances, because you're talking at the financial aspect. So you're talking about what skills I have that I can probably do 2 jobs sometimes. And I'm talking from a place of experience, because while you're working with your government job, you're looking to see, okay, if I can make cake, I'll make some cake. I used to make pastels and I'll be making that during the part. So what I have in my hand, I'm using it. But besides the financial, also have to have the coping ability to manage with the children and whatever. So what can I pull from the experiences that I had in this relationship? What can I pull? What skills, coping skills, can I pull to help me manage these children? So those are the things that you need. But most important, for me, it was that relationship with God. Because that was the anchor in terms of, okay, in spite of whatever, I had to, this is anchoring me, this helping me balance. So I have coping skills, I have academic skills. So I'm looking at the financial, I'm looking at the coping ability in terms of being able to manage the children and other things that I have to do. But I also have to have that spiritual aspect to keep me stable, to keep me anchored. Yes? So those are 3 things that I feel that is necessary to help you start again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So there's a question from the chat. Beyond creating your own table, what steps did you take to silence self-doubt and confidently step into your full potential?
Okay. So it was not a matter of, for me, it was not just, okay, I'll go in and create my table. It was about me saying, listen, I'm being rejected here. I'm seeing no space for me to fit in here. What can I do to be different so that I can have my own space and not have to look to be around them? So for me, it was, what my ability then, my word, it went back to my value. What do I have in my hands and what can I do with what I have in my hands? So, for instance, in the world of counseling, we have a lot of counselors, psychologists all over the place. What can I do different? So I say, all right, I would start to specialize in specific areas. So I decided, all right, so I will do assessments. I will want to, so while everybody just focusing on one aspect in terms of just counseling, for me, I am going to create my own space. I'm going to look at outside. So I went outside to get my accreditation for my courses and so on. I went outside of the normal box. And that is where in creating a space, you have to look at something different from what everybody else has. And that kind of shut the tongues of those who wagging and say, all right, they're not fighting to be around us, but they're creating their own space. So it was about understanding where I am, where I want to go, and just pushing towards that.
Thank you, thank you. So, one more question. After restarting, how do you stay the course with the noise around?
Mhm.
How do you stay the course with the noise around? And that's a good
That's
open
a good
question.
question because the noise will never stop. Keep focus.
Ah,
Focus on your goal. Just keep your eyes on the prize and the goal. Where do I want in all this? Where do I see myself? And I have to keep myself focused on that in terms of what I want to achieve. And once I keep myself focused on that, I have little time to listen to the little, because there will always be the noise around. But I have to keep focused. There's sometimes to distract you, you're human, and there are times to distract you a little, but you get back up, refocus, go again. So focus is key. Write your goal. You must have your vision in front of you. What do I want to achieve in all this? And once I'm facing that, I'm watching that, I'm saying I'm going after that. Listen, the noise can play as loud as it wants. Yeah?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you spoke there, the song Donnie McClurkin came to me, we fall down, but we get up.
Yes,
In that getting up, it's because we stay focused on what is ahead.
that's right.
Thank you very much, very, very much, Dr. Spence. So we are going to move right along to our next presenter, Dr. Nadia Manzano. In the bustling world of entrepreneurship and relentless pursuit of excellence, Dr. Nadia Manzano stands out as a towering figure of inspiration and innovation. Dr. Manzano is an award-winning graphic designer and business coach. She shows entrepreneurs how to establish a solid foundation when starting their businesses. Dr. Nadia Manzano is also an accomplished 12-time international best-selling author, marketing and branding specialist, and a retired veteran staff sergeant with 10 years service in the U.S. Army. During her military service, Dr. Manzano served one tour in Iraq and earned the prestigious Iraqi Freedom Medal of Honor. Following her retirement from the Army, Dr. Manzano began working in the medical field as a program director in corporate America. Dr. Manzano received the Woman of Heart and Presidential Lifetime Achievement Awards. Dr. Manzano is the co-chair of the Women's Roundtable Action Platform of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nadia Manzano.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Arlene, for that introduction. Again, good evening, everyone. I am not Dr. Karen, right? We talked about her not being able to come in this evening to do this presentation. However, we found that her topic was very important to talk about. So I took leadership and I'm going to be presenting today to you all. We're going to be talking about the power of stillness in a noisy world, especially the world that we live in today. So let's just dive right in, right? Let's talk about the noise that is draining us today. So in the chat, if you want to put a one in the chat, if you are digitally overwhelmed, what do I mean by that? It means that literally you have all these notifications that are coming on your phone. For me, it's minute after minute because I run a business and I have a family life. So put a one in the chat if every minute or every so often there is a notification that's going on your phone that is telling you that you have to do something and that's something that you have to accomplish. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Everyone is so connected to their phones, right? That notification on that phone, we are in a world of digital ages, and that can give us digital overwhelmingness, right? Another thing, type two in the chat if you feel the pressure to just do it all because you have to get everything done on your schedule. You're running a business, you're taking care of your family, You have jobs, your 9 to 5, that's so demanding, right? So put a 2 in the chat if you're feeling so overwhelmed, but you are feeling that pressure of having to get every single thing done for everyone else but yourself, right? So I'm seeing those twos coming in. Very good. Yes. So we're living definitely in the world where the noise is draining us. Sometimes it feels like even rest can be draining. What do I mean about that? I don't know about you, but sometimes when I lay down, even if I take a 5 minute nap or a 10 minute nap and I say, let me just lay down because I need to rest, as I'm laying down and I'm resting, what's going on in my head? The things that I have to do, the things that I have to do. Oh, I have to call this person. I got to send this email. Oh, my son needed this because he has something to do. Everything is going on in my head, and I'm still laying down, trying to rest, to regroup myself, but it's still a noisy world in my head as I lay down, right? So type of 3 in the chat if you feel like even when you're resting, you're not really resting. There's noise still going on in your head. Yes, right? Everyone type in a 3 in the chat, definitely. So we have to remember we are not machines, right? We are vessels, we're human beings, and we need some rest. So those are the type of noises that I want to talk about that is draining us on a day-to-day basis. So what can we do about this, right? For me, some of the things that I do to help drown out some of those noises is number one, I have a rule that when I wake up in the morning, I cannot use my phone as my alarm system. You can type before in the chat if you are using your cell phone as your alarm clock to wake you up in the morning. But guess what happens? When we pick that phone up and we turn off that alarm, I used to. I'm checking an email. I'm going to social media. And it's like, 6 in the morning when I'm waking up, right? And now I'm embedding all this social media, news, all this information in my head as soon as I wake up. That's not good, right? So my solution to that problem that I had to do for myself, there's a alarm clock. No phone, no anything that's close by me. My alarm clock is on my nightstand, and the alarm clock is what wakes me up, not my phone, right? Because I knew if I pick up that phone, I am going to dive right into emails and social media and text messages and WhatsApp and everything else. And then my mind is so busy that I didn't even take a minute to open my eyes well enough to just say, thank you, God, for waking me up this morning, right? So I started putting an alarm clock by my nightstand, and that's what wakes me up. And my phone is plugged in across my bedroom on my table, right? Until I wake up in the morning and I'm ready to take in that information, I go pick up my phone, right? So my suggestion about the noise and the notifications that happen when you're using your cell phone, have your cell phone early in the morning away from you so that you can have a moment to really wake and recharge yourself. Secondly, when I wake up in the morning, I talk about mindful movement. What do I mean? When I get up in the morning, I'm stretching, I am praying, I'm taking deep breaths, I'm relaxing myself because I know the world out there is getting ready to pull at me, right? So I need to be ready for anything that the world is getting ready to ask me to do. Okay, sometimes I feel like I'm just a problem ladies, right? Like we're just here to solve problems for each and every individual person that we are connected to. So before I get to you and solve your problems, let me get into a relaxed state, into a relaxed mindset, right? Because you need to protect your peace before the world demands anything from you, right? So you need to be in a calm space. You need to be in a mindset space of I'm ready to take on anything else that anyone says to me or asks me to do because I have taken that first 5, 10, 15 minutes of the morning to get me ready to face the world. So let's talk about why stillness is powerful. Why is stillness so powerful? Stillness can help you reconnect with your purpose. like Dr. Moreau. I know we didn't have the exact same topic, but when I tell you your message resonated with me because it was some of the things that's in my as well. Because we have to stay still for a moment, but there's power in stillness. Because that's when you understand your true purpose. There's not a lot of noise going around you. You're literally sitting thinking about your purpose in life. So remember rest and recovery, right? So why stillness again is important. Rest equals recovery. Downtime refills and reserves you, right? Don't feel like you have to be everywhere, doing the exact same thing all the different times. You need a moment to rest. So prioritizing your rest is important to your recovery. Silence equals wisdom. Why do I say that? Quiet moments birth insights. Insights that help you with your mindset. Insights that help you understand what's next for you. I know just like you, right? And I know you guys could resonate with me. We all have that to-do list. If I sometimes I run out of notebooks. Have you ever just ran out of a notebook because you write down your to-do list or you write down everything that's coming to you and then you run out of this notebook, right? But you always have to make sure to write down the everything that is in your mind so that you can do that mind dump. I always call it like a brain dump because if it stays in my head, A, I might forget something that I need to go do because more things are coming in at me. Or B, I start feeling this sense of overwhelmingness because my information in my head is too much, right? So definitely making sure that we are writing down the things that come into our heads. I know I sit at my desk and there's a notepad right to, yes, too many notebooks to count, right? I am sitting at my desk literally my office, and as soon as something comes in my head, I write it down because I do myself a disservice if I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to remember that for later. No, tomorrow I'm like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot to send that email, right? So making sure that we're writing down that to-do list. And another powerful moment in stillness is reflection equals growth. When you self-reflect on the things that you have to get done, on the business that you're running, on the family that you have to take care of. You sit and you reflect on what are the different things that I need to do in each compartment of my life, and that is going to equal to growth. You're not going to feel so overwhelmed. Okay, when you are reflecting and you understand, how you're going to be growing. And again, we talked about, being the power of being in silence, right? Being in silence in the chaotic world that we live in. You have to understand that in that moment of your silence, it's you actually gaining clarity. You're actually gaining your clarity on what you're getting ready to go do. Because again, if you're waking up in the morning and you pick up your phone and you're running and you're late and you keep going, you're going to get burnt out by the end of the day. And then you're going to feel unaccomplished because by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're tired and you're weary, but there's still things that need to get done, and there's still people pulling at you to get something done that you have to do something for, right? So that's why there is power in the silence and in that moment that you take to yourself, even if it's 10, 15 minutes in the morning, that is something that you definitely need to do. So just remember, you in that silent moment, you're recharging, you're not quitting. Okay? You're recharging, you're not quitting. Rest fuels your next breakthrough. If it's anything that you're going to take from me today and you have to write down, understand that rest fuels your next breakthrough. Because in the moment of rest and clarity, you understand what you need to do next. Okay? And then, of course, um, prioritizing rest for creativity, right? I don't, I know some of us on here are probably entrepreneurs, business owners, even taking care of your family, right? You need to understand how rest can help you prioritize your creativity because now you're able to do and you can always think clearly, right? Thinking clearly is going to help in the long run. And beyond the hustle, I know we've heard that word many, many times in our lives, right? Even if we're not business owners, we are hustling, right? The body and the spirit needs to rest. Okay, understand that. So, of course, let's jump into the power of reflection. So, experiences living through moments, right? Sometimes I sit and I reflect, right? You reflect on moments. You reflect on moments not just to, of course, remember them, but to see what could I have done better in that moment or at that time so that something could have been done better, right? So sitting and reflecting in that moment helps you with gaining clarity. But how do you do that, right? Remember I talked about earlier, getting out of bed and you're just, running to go do things. Set aside that time. Set aside that 10, 15 minutes if you have it in the morning. And what the one thing, Dr. Spence talked about, of course, self-care, right? Do you understand waking up a little bit earlier in the morning, 10, 15 minutes, so that you can compress your mind and you can sit still for a moment is part of self-care? You don't have to go to a spa and you don't have to go spend money so that you can have self-care, right? Self-care can be certain things that you do for yourself in that moment and just sitting still and understanding and prioritizing your day so that everything's as you hope can move clearly for you is self-care. That 10, 15 minutes that you take for yourself is self-care. And whether it is 10, 15 minutes early morning, or you're like, Nadia, I have to wake up at 6 o'clock. I got to pack the lunches for the kids. I got to run the business. I got to send the emails. I may not have it. But even in the late evenings, before you go to bed, right? Lay and silently calm your mind, calm yourself before you go to bed. Don't go to bed too anxious because in the middle of the night, you may wake up again. I know some of my clients who suffer with insomnia, and it's because they have so many things going on in their brain that they didn't calm themselves at night, right? We have a session coming up in a little while with Avril, who's going to teach us some breathing exercises. Those are the things that you need to do. So we're helping you, and we're going to be giving you tools needed that you can use to just calm yourself before you go to bed or calm yourself in the mornings when you wake up so that you can go face the world. Dr. Burrows talked about, I call it again, journaling, brain dumping. And this is, again, very important. It was so funny that when I heard her say that, I was like, yeah, that's what we all need to do. Brain dump. I call it brain dumping in journal. And don't try to be perfection at it. Right. And I'm not talking about journaling. Yes, you can write, your positive affirmations. You can write your to-do list. But even if something is going wrong, write it down. Write it down so that you can go back to it to say, okay, how can I fix this? Don't try to fix it in your head and you didn't write it down, right? So even the things that are going wrong in life right now for you, write it down so that you can come back to it to give more clarity to it. Because if it stays in the head, it's going to go round and round in circles on it. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And you're not going to think about how do I fix it? How do I get clarity on it? So make sure you're writing these things down. Things that are going good, things that are going bad, positive affirmations, to-do lists. Those are the things that you definitely want to write down. And it makes that brain feel so much lighter because at least it's on paper. You don't have to keep thinking, I have to remember, I have to remember. It's literally written down for you. And I talked about giving yourself that 10, 15 minutes early mornings, right? During the week, early mornings, you either need it in the mornings or you need it in the evenings. But if you can, on the weekends, give yourself 1 hour of, I said 1 hour of sanctuary. What does that mean? No phone, no screen time, okay? Light a candle, read a book, pray, refill your spirit, right? You need that 1 hour to just refill your spirit so that, you can pour into others. I always teach people that you cannot pour from an empty cup. If I am tired and I have to go coaching someone, I am doing you a disservice. I am not pouring into you genuinely. And it doesn't even have to be a client, right? It's your family members. Okay, it's your family, it's your friends. Because sometimes you are so tired and someone may come and ask you for something and you're like, oh my goodness, I am exhausted. And now you have this rage or this attitude, like, don't ask me anything right now. And it could have been a simple, can you bring me a cup of water? Right? Some family member would just say, bring me a cup of water and like, don't ask me for anything right now because I am tired, right? So you cannot pour from an empty cup, from a tired cup. This is why rest and restoration is important. Silent moments with yourself is important. Try to do it on a Monday to Friday basis, whether it's early morning or late evening, 10, 15 minutes by yourself. And even if you have to explain to the people that you live in your home with, give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes because then I can come back to you and I can um, help you answer any questions that you may have. But give me 10 minutes. When you wake up in the morning, or if you're going to bed in the evening, when everybody else is at bed and everyone else is sleeping, take that 10 minutes to breathe, to relax before you go to bed in the evening. And then on the weekend, you need at least 1 hour. If you can't give yourself 1 hour for you and yourself and your mental health, we need to take a look at your schedule. We need to take a look at what's going on in life with you, right? Because you need to be able to afford 1 hour on a weekend to yourself. And again, what are we doing on that 1 hour weekends? No screen time, right? In that 1 hour, no phone, don't answer a text, don't look at nothing going on in the news, because right now the news will stress you out. Like, don't take in anything for that first 1 hour, either on a Saturday or a Sunday. Pick up a book, read, right? Journal if you need to, rest, pray, right? So that you can refill yourself with spirit. So as I end, my question to you is, are you ready to schedule time for that stillness and schedule stillness for yourself? Thank you all so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Manzano. Thank you very much for that. Recharging is not quitting. Rest fuels your next action. Reflection, living through your moments, and 1 hour of sanctuary. And as a friend of mine would say, Sabbath moments. Right? So we're moving along quite quickly this evening. Are there any questions in the chat? We'll take one question from the chat. Okay, so I have one question. How can I create moments of calm in the middle of chaos?
You have to be able to separate yourself from that chaos, from that moment. Yes, we live in that chaotic world, but you need to be able to self-reflect for yourself and know that you're not going to be able to handle this chaotic situation if you're not settled. If your mind is not settled to handle the chaos, then you're going to jump right into the chaos and everything is going to be way chaotic for you, right? So understand that there is power in taking a moment away from the chaos to settle yourself. And I'm glad that we do have Avra that's going to teach us some breathing techniques and things of that nature, because there are things that you can do. When I say separate yourself from the moment, it doesn't just mean walk away from it, you know. It means walk away and do something. Take a breath, right? Breathe. Take a walk. Me, sometimes, honestly speaking, transparent moment, when things get so chaotic for me, I go in my car, I turn on the music, and I take a drive. Don't ask me where I'm going. I am just driving until I feel calm enough to come back to the situation. So music helps me, soft music helps me, taking a drive helps me, breathing techniques help me. So you have to understand what is the technique that's going to help you in a chaotic world. And before you jump in to handle that situation, take a moment for yourself and calm yourself so that when you jump into that chaotic moment, you're like, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, what are we doing? I can take care of it, right? But in a calm moment, never hit that chaotic moment when you're not at rest or when you're not at peace, because it would never end well.
Thank you very much for that answer. And thank you very much, Dr. Manzano, for your stellar presentation. We are running a little bit behind the time this evening. Please bear with us. But what we need to engage you for right now is a mindfulness exercise. I'm going to turn you over to Avril, and she's going to take you through a mindfulness exercise. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Arlene. Thank you to everyone who has presented before. Ladies, really amazing stuff. Really, really appreciate it. Welcome, welcome again, everyone. We're pausing. Did you get that? Pause? It's as simple as that. We're pausing to take a few breaths and do a few, actually just one mindfulness activity. And sometimes when we are on the go, busy, we think we need 20 minutes of a break from mindfulness activity. Today's mindfulness activity is taken from an app that I use frequently called Insight Timer. And we'll drop the link in the chat. But this app has a lot of free activities, and you can curate it to suit your needs based on whatever activities you want. But this activity comes directly from Insight Timer. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And then we will pause and do just a 6-minute mindfulness activity. So let me share my screen now. And yep. And this is Insight Timer. And this is the activity that we'll be going through. And the person who is leading the activity is a Brit called Stuart Sunderman. And we have permission to use his breathing activity. And I have done this a few times. It's in my account, so you will see that it's introducing it as part of a series of sessions. But let's just do the one activity straight through together. It doesn't have to be a long period. This is just 6 minutes. So let me enlarge my screen so you see Stuart fully, and let's just get comfortable and get ready.
Welcome to day one of the mid-year reset here on Insight Timer. Your daily moment to pause, reflect, and return to yourself. Consistency is where real change begins. Enjoy today's session.
Hello, I'm Stuart Sandeman, and welcome to your 5-minute nervous system reset. This simple breath practice can be powerful, especially when fear, stress, or self-doubt starts creeping in. Because the way you breathe shapes how you feel and how your nervous system responds. When you change your breath, you can change your state. So close your eyes and take a moment to settle in. Allow your body to soften. Drop your shoulders. Let your whole body feel heavy and relaxed. Now let's take 2 deep grounding breaths, opening up the sections of your breath. So breathe in as low as you can, expanding your breath into your pubic bone, your hips, your belly button, your side ribs, your midsection, all the way up into your chest. And slow breath out through your mouth. Let everything soften. One more, just like that. Breathe in all the way down, open up the sections of your breath. And slow breath out, let everything relax. Nice. Now repeat with me out loud or silently to yourself. Today I choose calm and ease. Today I choose calm and ease. Now let's balance your nervous system with some single nostril breathing. So close off your right nostril with your right thumb. And breathe in gently through your left. Feel your belly rise. And breathe out through your left. Good. 2 more like that. Breathe in through your left nostril. And out through your left. Last one, into your left. And out. Switch nostrils now, so close your left nostril and breathe in gently through the right. And out through the right. 2 more, in right. And out through the right. Last one, in through your right. And out through your right. Now let's calm your nervous system even more by gradually lengthening your out breath. We'll go for in for 4, out for 4, in for 4, out for 5, in for 4, out for 6, and so on until we reach a very calming 10 count out breath. So let's go. Breathe in through both nostrils for 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3. Yeah. Now let your breath return to its natural rhythm. Let your body absorb the calm you've created. You've just reset your nervous system to carry this calm energy into the rest of your day. And as you move through your day, consider this. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Stuart Sandeman. Remember, practicing breathwork a couple times a week can really help you find balance. So follow me here on Inside Timer for more breathing sessions. And if you're taking part in the challenge, we'd love to hear how the practice felt for you. So share your experience in the forum. Thanks so much. See you next time.
So, how was that for you? I hope it was a great experience. And
Calming.
again, it's insight timer. And it's literally insight timer, just as it was. And we should have dropped the link in the chat. But yeah, make that a habit. And again, it doesn't take a long time. That was just a short 6 minutes. And it was 6 minutes because of the introduction. So it's literally a 5-minute breath reset, nervous system reset. And I hope you feel as calm as I do. Thank you so much. Dr. Manzano? Okay. Okay. Before we turn back over to Arlene Hamlin-Paul, who has so graciously been our moderator, I'd just like to read her bio and officially introduce her. So Arlene Hamlin-Paul has 29 years of educator experience. This includes primary, tertiary, and professional education and emergency medical services. In 2003, Mrs. Hamlin-Paul graduated from LaGuardia Community College, New York, earning her New York State paramedic certification and her National Registry certification. Upon her return to Trinidad and Tobago, she became the first Trinidadian paramedic to work in Trinidad and Tobago. She has lectured at several institutions, including the University of the West Indies. Her area of special study included emergency medical services, psychology, sociology, criminology, criminal justice, and education. Ms. Hamlin-Paul is an advocate for youth, and in 2009, she founded the organization Anointed Sons International, an organization focused on the development of at-risk male youth. As a visionary, Ms. Hamlin-Paul has spearheaded several initiatives, both in the community as well as at the Youth Transformation and Rehabilitation Center. She has written articles and presented at conferences highlighting the issues affecting youth. In April 2025, Ms. Hamlin-Paul was elected as president of the University Alumni Association Trinidad and Tobago chapter, becoming the first female to hold this position. Presently, Mrs. Hamlin-Paul operates her business, EdCom Educators, which specializes in certification courses, academic tutoring, consulting, and career coaching. She believes that purpose is directly connected to serving others. Thank you, Ms. Hamlin-Paul, for so graciously serving as our moderator for this Unshakable event. Now over to you, Ms. Hamlin-Paul.
Thank you very much, Avril. Thank you so much for that exercise. It really took me into a place of calm. I mean, the day was a little busy today, but I feel so relaxed now. It's just like I could just sit back and just enjoy the rest of the evening. As we continue, I want to bring to the fore our next speaker, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood. In a world where emotional struggles are often hidden behind polished smiles, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood stands boldly as a voice of truth, healing, and hope. A global speaker, best-selling author, and the dynamic host of the Dr. Rhonda Show, she is passionate about mental health advocacy and committed to helping others rise from pain into a life anchored in purpose, passion, and unwavering faith. Dr. Rhonda's platform is built on transparency, transformation, and tenancy. Having witnessed the power of mental, emotional, and spiritual resilience, both in her own life and in the lives of those she serves, she champions a message that transcends borders. Her work empowers individuals, regardless of background, to confront their struggles, reclaim their identity, and rewrite their story. As the host of the Dr. Rhonda Show, she creates a space for honest conversation that addresses the intersections of mental health, trauma recovery, faith, and personal development. Her interviews and insights bring light to difficult topics, inspiring viewers around the globe to prioritize their mental wellness and believe in their ability to overcome. Her best-selling books offer the same depth and encouragement, equipping readers with practical tools to heal emotionally while growing spiritually. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Rhonda M. Wood. Dr. Wood?
Hello, everybody. Beautiful souls. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Arlene, for that beautiful introduction. And thank you, Dr. Nadia, for just the invitation to be here. It is such an honor. I am so excited just to share with you today to this event, Unshakable. I love that title, Unshakable. So I am excited to share in this space, right? My topic is real talk, women, pressure, and mental health, right? So here we are, real women having real conversations about this real life topic. So again, my name is Dr. Rhonda M. Wood, and I have been a corporate America professional for about over 3 decades for sure. I've been an advocate for mental health. I've been a speaker. I've been around the world. I just returned from China. I went to Hong Kong and Beijing. So let me tell you, that exercise that we just did to reset, it was right on time, exactly what I needed. Here's the thing, as women, right? As women, especially women of color, we have a tendency to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. I remember a time distinctly, there I was in corporate America trying to climb that corporate ladder, trying to be all I could be. I don't know how many of you can relate to that. See, what happens is we get into these spaces, right? And we're trying to fit in. I was trying to fit in. And the reason why is because I felt like I've worked so hard to get here. Now I have to prove to them that I belong here. There were times when my days were overwhelming. I was stressed out and I was burnt out. I was overwhelmed. And sometimes the heaviness was too much for me to be able to manage most days. But I still showed up every day with my head held high and a big smile on my face, because the last thing I wanted to do was for them to think that they made a mistake in betting on me. The last thing I wanted to do was for anyone to think that I was weak, that I wasn't strong, and that I wasn't in control. So I said, you know, Rhonda, girl, put your big girl panties on and let's keep on keeping on. Not the best advice. You know, this topic, real talk, women, pressure, and mental health, something that we need to discuss. As women, especially women of color, there is an automatic expectation of us in most of the spaces that we walk in. Most of the spaces. We are expected to carry. We are expected to clean. We are expected to create. We are expected to climb. We are expected to comfort. We are expected to conquer. But we are never expected to crack. Therefore, we wear the mask. I wore the mask daily because I wanted them to think that, oh, I know how to show up every day, ready. We know how to show up in excellence. We know how to lead. We know how to nurture. We know how to, honey, if it's one thing we know how to do, we know how to push through. We're going to always push through. So let me get real with you for a minute. Behind all of the successes, behind all of the accomplishments, behind all of the accolades, behind all of the letters in front of our names, behind our names, all of those alphabets, right? Behind the nice car, the square footage of our house, the numbers in our bank account, from the classroom to the boardroom, behind me being on the stage, right? All those stage lights, the social media posts, the magazine covers. I love Nadia's magazines, by the way, let me tell you. Behind all of that, there were days, I love how Nadia talked about pouring from that cup. There were days when I poured from a cup that was bone dry. Honey, not a drop. It was fumes, not even a tiny little morsel of liquid. There were nights that I cried in silence, in shame, with stigma, because the world told me that I was supposed to always show up strong, all day, every day. The world told me that even though there were seasons where I showed up and I was trying to be strong for everybody and everything, I was actually losing myself. You know what? I don't know if anybody realizes, but we're not called to be strong. Even in the Bible, I think, what was it? Tim, who was it? Who said, when I'm weak, I am strong? We're not called to be strong. We are called to be real. We are called to be authentic. We are called to survive, but I didn't want to just survive. I wanted to thrive in my authenticity. So mental health for me is not just something that I like to talk about. It's actually a genuine part of my story. I will never forget the time when I finally said, okay, Rhonda, enough is enough. You need to step back, step away. Let's get yourself together. Prioritize you so that you can prioritize your family, your household. I'll never forget the day I took she was then a teenager, my teenage daughter, to the therapist. And I sat on the couch across from the therapist. And I gave this long speech. I said, listen, doc, she's having some trouble in school. She's having some trouble at home. She's, being disobedient. She's talking back. She's having a fit. She's not taking care of her room. We have some problems here, doc. I went on for a good 10, 15 minutes. And he just looked at me. He let me go on. He looked me straight in the eye. He never even looked at her. He said, I can't help her until I help you. It was at that moment that I knew, even people around me, I am still responsible for myself. I am responsible for my own well-being. And I realize how it influences other people. So my sisters, I don't want to be an advocate just because. I advocate because I know and I understand those dark places. I advocate because I have lived in the silence and the shame. I advocate and I show up because I know what it's like to feel unseen and unheard. But I don't want my sisters to have to think that because they are having a bad day, because they may not be their best for a period of time, that disqualifies their worthiness and who they are. So let's talk about the pressures that I had in the workplace as a professional. The pressure for perfection, the pressure to put on that smile and that mask, even when my soul was hurting, that pressure to say yes, even when I really wanted to say no, because I didn't want to look like I couldn't handle it. The pressure to feel like I really want to fall apart. I really want to break, but I got to hold it together. When you try and show up like that every single day, that's not the real you. You will eventually crack. And that was what sent me to my therapist that day. So I want to give everybody a nice permission slip. Remember how we were in school and we had to have a permission slip to be able to go to the principal's office, go to the lunchroom, go make a call home to your mom? I want to be able to give everyone a permission slip today. The permission slip that I want to be able to provide is for people to feel like you have permission to rest. I love how Nadia talked about rest and restoration. We have permission to do that. Many of us don't because we feel like we can't. We have to constantly put others and serve others before our own needs. We have permission to cry and be vulnerable. In my workplace, I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable. We have permission to ask for help in my workplace, and sometimes even in my home, I felt like I couldn't have permission. I want to be able to provide permission for us to rest, cry, ask for help, and even have those moments when it's okay to not be okay. Our mental health healing and prioritization is going to start with honesty and authenticity. Real strength comes from when we stop pretending that we have to be strong all the time. That's where the real strength comes from. I want to applaud everyone who showed up here today because I think that takes an amount of strength in itself. You guys showed up because you were like, hey, let me see what I can do to make myself better so that I can show up as a better version of myself, right? So for me, being unshakable is creating spaces like this where we can speak real and authentic, confidentially, a safe, confidential, no judgment space. We don't have to be judged. I can speak transparently about going to a therapist, about almost having a breakdown, about being told that I need to do something before I'm telling my family members that they need to do something. I can be open about that because this community allows me to do that. A community where I don't have to feel like I have to chase or compete or compare myself to other people. I can genuinely be me, and we can all need one another. A community where I feel like we don't have to carry our burdens alone. I have my sisters who can help and support me. A safe space, because we weren't created to do life alone. So here are a few things that I have on my heart, a few takeaways that I have on my heart. As we have gone through the different talks today, I love writing down the different notes, but I want everyone to know, number one, that we can be both strong and not strong. We can be both strong and soft, or hard and soft. We can be both. We can be both at the same time. There are days when I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm going to be like, you know what? I can't do it today. I can't do it today. Today is a day where I'm not going to be okay. And there are days when I'm like, I can feel like a superwoman. I can be both. I don't have to be one or the other. And it does not discount my value at all. Number two, my peace is my responsibility. It was up to me to go to my superiors and say, I need to take some time away. It was up to me to go to, my mental health professional and say, I need some support. My peace, our peace is our responsibility, and it's up to us to protect it like our life depends on it, because it does. And number three, our mental health, it's a part of our legacy. When I think about the things that I needed to heal from, they probably came from generations before me. And I did not want to pass it on to generations after me. So when we heal, it doesn't just affect us. It doesn't just change our lives. It affects younger generations. It affects future leaders. It affects our children's children, aunties and uncles and nieces and nephews. I want to make sure that we know I don't need to no longer sacrifice my mental health, my physical health, my well-being on any altar of feeling like I need to please other people. No people pleasing, no perfection, and no performance. I no longer have to fake holding my head up high or putting a smile on my face. Either it's real or it's not. I love that breathing exercise. We get to pause, breathe, prioritize, and reset as many times as necessary. Nobody has to put a limit on it because we matter. And lastly, we will continue to lead the charge to be unshakable because there are going to be storms. There are going to be times when there's chaos and dysfunction and highs and man and things of that nature. But we, as a community, we can be rooted in truth, rooted in purpose, rooted in passion, rooted in God. And we can continue to be, no matter what happens around us, we can be women who rise in realness, in rawness, because we are on an incredible healing journey as women where we don't have to be shaken. We are unshakable women that through the pressures and the mental health, we still stand strong. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Wow. We remain unshakable. Unshakable. I just want to focus on the part where you said prioritizing you, and it's okay. Sometimes, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as sisters, daughters, we tend to prioritize everyone else, and we want to feel as if we are selfish if we prioritize ourselves. But it's okay to prioritize you. Creating spaces. And I really want to say thank you to the committee of WRAPTT that planned this event because it created a space for these topics to be discussed this evening. And discussed it was. So I want to open the floor now for questions. If we have any questions from the audience for Dr. Wood. So I want to start. How can therapy or coaching support women navigating career and identity shifts? And I like that question because you spoke about therapy. And in our culture, in the Caribbean culture, we're just beginning to embrace, therapy. So speak on that. How can therapy or coaching support women navigating career and identity shifts?
Ooh, great question. So for me, I believed that my career was a part of my identity, and I felt like my identity had to be very shiny. Again, I felt like there were spaces where I felt like I couldn't be authentically me. There were times when I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable. I couldn't say when I need help. I couldn't say when it was too much. I felt like I always had to appear strong, in control, and in charge. So what therapy taught me was you need to be real. Stop being in survivor mode. I realized a lot of that was because of things that I needed to heal from my past, from my childhood, the way I was raised, and feeling like things always needed to be perfect and you always needed to appear a certain way to the world. The world taught me that I always had to show up like that. So therapy taught me to be you. Actually, therapy taught me, as a matter of fact, step away from your job. Step away and take the time to heal. Therapy taught me to prioritize me. And in doing that, I was actually able to become a better professional. I was able to truly, really find my identity, who I was on the inside. I took away the people-pleasing part and I was able to be authentically me. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does. And that just solidifies the point that if we don't take care of ourselves, then we are unable to serve others. And I believe that we were created for service. each one to serve one, but we have to take care of ourselves first. Thank you very much, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood, for that wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
So as we go to the close this evening, I would like to bring to the fore Ms. Nicole Julius to do our vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Women's Action Platform Trinidad and Tobago, Education Pillar, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to each of you for joining for this meaningful and powerful conversation. To our phenomenal speakers, Dr. Phyllis Moray, Dr. Nadia Monsanto, Dr. Joanne Spence, and Dr. Rhonda Woods, thank you for showing up with such boldness, authenticity, and heart. You reminded us that we redefining success, claiming stillness, and owning our self-worth are radical and necessary acts of healing. To our gracious moderator, Ms. Arlene Hamblin-Paul, thank you for your steady, compassionate leadership in holding space for truth and transformation. To everyone that turned in, thank you. Your presence and your participation are what makes spaces like this so impactful. May you walk away inspired, grounded, and reminded that you are indeed unshakable. We also want to pause today to celebrate a special milestone, which was mentioned earlier. Congratulations to Women's Roundtable Action Platform Trinidad and Tobago on its 5th anniversary. Founded in 2020 under the auspices of His Excellency Brigadier General Retired Anthony Philip Spencer, the Women Roundtable Action Platform Trinidad and Tobago is a nonprofit civil society organization with a bold vision to connect, engage, and empower dynamic women within the Trinidad and Tobago diaspora, both locally and globally. Our mission is to provide an inclusive platform where women can access mentorship, education, networking, and opportunities to support their personal and professional growth. If you are inspired by our mission and would like to join us in empowering women and girls to achieve their full potential, we will be sharing information soon on how you can become part of WRAPTT community. Also, your feedback helps us to grow and better serve our community. Please fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you early next week, probably by Monday. Let's continue to rise, reach, and reclaim wholeness together. And remember, you are indeed unshakable. Thank you once again, and have a good evening.
Thank you also. It was a
And
beautiful
thank
program.
you very much, Nicole. And I want to say thank you for
So
all
beautiful.
60 plus of you that remained with us till the end. Thank you. We
Beautiful.
apologize for the delay in ending this evening, but it was necessary to facilitate those questions. We look forward to your continued support in the realization of WRAPTT's vision. Thank you very much. Do enjoy your evening.
Thank you also, you too.